Former world champion JoJo Diaz recently offered an interesting breakdown of why he believes Devin Haney would give Shakur Stevenson more problems than Keyshawn Davis. At first glance, some fans may find that surprising because many view Shakur as the most complete boxer in the lightweight division. His defensive skills, ring IQ, and ability to control fights have made him one of the toughest fighters to beat in the sport. However, Diaz believes that styles make fights, and Haney possesses several attributes that could make life difficult for Stevenson. The first thing Diaz points to is Haney's size and reach. Haney has always been one of the bigger fighters around the lightweight division, and his ability to control distance with a sharp jab allows him to keep opponents from getting comfortable. Against a fighter like Shakur, who relies heavily on positioning, timing, and range management, that physical advantage could become extremely important over 12 rounds. Diaz explained that Haney's jab is one of the most underrated weapons in boxing. While fans often focus on knockouts and highlight reel moments, elite-level boxing frequently comes down to fundamentals, and Haney's jab is among the best in the sport. A consistent jab can disrupt rhythm, score points, and prevent opponents from launching their own offense. Against Shakur, the battle for control of the lead hand and the center of the ring would likely determine who gains the upper hand. Both fighters are masters of distance management, but Haney's length could force Stevenson to work harder than he usually does to find openings. Unlike many fighters who become frustrated when they struggle to land clean punches against Shakur, Haney is patient enough to remain disciplined and continue following a strategic game plan throughout the fight. Another reason Diaz sees Haney as a difficult challenge is his experience at the highest level. Haney has fought under tremendous pressure throughout his career, including championship bouts and major pay-per-view events. Those experiences have helped him develop mental toughness and composure in difficult situations. When facing an elite boxer like Stevenson, emotional control becomes just as important as physical skill. Diaz believes Haney's calm approach would prevent him from making the kind of reckless mistakes that Shakur often capitalizes on. Many opponents become desperate when they realize they are being outboxed, but Haney has shown repeatedly that he is willing to stay patient and trust his skills for the entire fight. Diaz also highlighted Haney's defensive improvements. Early in his career, some critics questioned whether Haney could handle pressure from elite opponents. Over time, however, he has developed into a more complete fighter with excellent defensive awareness. His ability to slip punches, control range, and minimize damage makes him harder to break down than many fans realize. Against Stevenson, who thrives on creating angles and landing precise counter shots, having strong defensive fundamentals could be essential. Diaz feels that Haney's commitment to defense would force Stevenson into a tactical battle rather than allowing him to dominate exchanges as he has done against some previous opponents. Despite all these advantages, Diaz was careful to point out that Shakur remains one of the most gifted fighters in boxing. Stevenson possesses extraordinary reflexes, elite footwork, and perhaps the best defensive instincts in the sport today. His ability to make opponents miss while landing clean, accurate punches is what separates him from most fighters in the division. Even if Haney were able to establish his jab and control portions of the fight, Stevenson has consistently demonstrated an ability to adjust during competition. His ring IQ allows him to recognize patterns and make tactical changes that can completely shift the momentum of a fight. That is why Diaz believes a Haney-Stevenson matchup would be one of the most competitive and intriguing fights available in boxing today. When the conversation turned to Keyshawn Davis, Diaz offered a different perspective. He acknowledged that Keyshawn is one of the brightest young talents in the sport and possesses tremendous athletic ability. Davis combines speed, power, confidence, and versatility in a way that has made many analysts view him as a future world champion. However, Diaz believes that Keyshawn's style could actually create opportunities for Stevenson. Unlike Haney, who often prefers to box at range and control the pace, Keyshawn is generally more aggressive and willing to engage in exchanges. While that aggression has helped him overwhelm many opponents, it could also give Stevenson more opportunities to showcase his defensive skills and counterpunching ability. According to Diaz, Shakur is at his best when opponents bring the fight to him. His timing is exceptional, and he excels at making aggressive fighters miss before immediately making them pay with accurate counters. When a fighter consistently steps forward looking to land big shots, they inevitably create openings, and Stevenson is one of the best in the world at identifying and exploiting those openings. Diaz feels that Keyshawn's willingness to engage could provide Shakur with more scoring opportunities than Haney's measured, disciplined approach would. This doesn't mean Diaz believes Keyshawn would be an easy opponent, but rather that stylistically the fight may favor Stevenson more than a matchup against Haney. Another factor Diaz mentioned is familiarity. Shakur and Keyshawn have spent years around one another, whether through amateur boxing circles, training environments, or professional events. Fighters who know each other well often enter a matchup with a deeper understanding of strengths, weaknesses, and tendencies. Diaz believes that knowledge could benefit Stevenson because he is exceptionally skilled at studying opponents and creating game plans tailored to their habits. If Shakur already understands many of Keyshawn's preferred patterns and reactions, it could make preparation significantly easier. Former world champion JoJo Diaz recently shared his thoughts on two potential matchups involving Shakur Stevenson, explaining why he believes Devin Haney would present more problems for Shakur than Keyshawn Davis. According to Diaz, Haney's combination of size, reach, elite jab, and disciplined boxing style makes him a uniquely difficult opponent. Haney is known for controlling distance, staying composed under pressure, and sticking to a game plan for all 12 rounds, qualities that could disrupt Shakur's preferred rhythm. Diaz believes the battle of jabs and ring control would be crucial because both fighters are highly skilled technicians who excel at making adjustments and limiting mistakes. Unlike many opponents who become frustrated and chase Shakur around the ring, Haney has the patience and experience to remain disciplined, potentially creating a very competitive chess match between two of boxing's smartest fighters. When discussing Keyshawn Davis, Diaz made it clear that he respects his talent but sees the matchup differently. Keyshawn is an aggressive, athletic fighter who likes to engage and create action, and Diaz feels that style may actually play into Shakur's strengths. Stevenson's elite defense, timing, and counterpunching ability are often most effective against opponents who come forward looking to impose themselves. Diaz also pointed out that Shakur and Keyshawn know each other well from years around the amateur and professional boxing scenes, giving Stevenson valuable insight into Davis's tendencies and habits. While Keyshawn continues to develop into one of boxing's brightest young stars, Haney's experience in major championship fights and his proven ability against elite competition make him a more complicated stylistic challenge. In Diaz's view, that's why Haney would likely give Shakur more trouble, while Keyshawn, despite his impressive skills, could be a slightly easier fight for the former world champion. Experience also plays a role in Diaz's analysis. While Keyshawn has looked impressive throughout his professional career, he is still building his resume and gaining experience against elite-level competition. Haney, on the other hand, has already faced numerous world-class opponents and navigated some of the toughest situations boxing can offer. Diaz believes those experiences matter when evaluating potential super fights. Veterans who have already competed on the biggest stages often possess a level of composure that younger fighters are still developing. In a close, tactical fight where every round matters, that experience can make a significant difference. Ultimately, Diaz's argument comes down to styles and experience rather than talent alone. He sees Haney as a fighter whose physical dimensions, disciplined approach, and championship-level experience create unique challenges for Stevenson. Meanwhile, although Keyshawn is a dangerous and highly talented fighter, his more aggressive style could allow Shakur to fight the type of fight he prefers. Boxing history is filled with examples where a technically superior fighter struggled against one opponent but looked dominant against another because of stylistic differences. Diaz believes that principle applies here as well. Whether fans agree or disagree with Diaz's assessment, one thing is certain: both potential matchups would generate enormous interest throughout the boxing world. A fight between Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney would be a fascinating battle of skill, strategy, and ring intelligence, while a showdown between Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis would feature speed, athleticism, and explosive moments. Until those fights become reality, debate will continue among fans and analysts. But according to JoJo Diaz, if the goal is identifying the opponent most likely to test Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney may be the man who presents the toughest challenge, while Keyshawn Davis, despite all his talent, could be a slightly more favorable matchup for the former world champion.